Welcome back with a smiling face. Links to previous episodes are given in the video description, so don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video. The Girl in the Woods. Episode 6. Chapter 48 to 57. So the game resumed even more intense. Everyone was trying their very best. The score was still a tie, so everyone was trying to score a goal for their team. It was almost like a battlefield. As same as in the first half, possession of the goal was within our team most of the time. Our players were doing a great job with the ball. Especially Jake and Luke. They too create an excellent pair on the field. They understand each other's movements precisely, and it is like they read each other's minds. I have never noticed such a perfect combination between these two in previous matches, or maybe I was just busy observing Jake and dreaming about him. God! I have missed so much of the game and other players by just focusing on him. I think today is the first day I watch a football match with full concentration on what is really happening in the field. After a few minutes of trying extremely hard to go through the Victoria team's defense, Jake managed to score another goal for our team. Yay! I am not an expert in football, but in my opinion, it was a great kick. He did it with an unbelievable level of speed and energy. Everyone was cheering again for my Jake. No need to tell, I was so proud of him. Especially when he looked at the area where I was standing, with his rare handsome smile, it made me break into tears with happiness. The fangirls in front of me were going crazy about him again. "You are my hero," one of them screamed. "Marry me please, Jake," another one yelled. "Jake is super talented, isn't he?" Sally asked. I smiled shyly. I always wonder how he manages to balance his academics with sports this well. She said again. "Same goes for Luke as well," I replied, smiling. "Yeah, it's true. I think guys are better at balancing things than the girls," she said. "Are you a friend of Jake as well?" she then asked out of nowhere. What? I got really panicked with her unexpected question. Oh. No. I have barely spoken with him, I added quickly. Why did you ask like that? I couldn't hide my curiosity this time. No. Luke and Jake were like best friends when we first came to high school. They were always together. After some time, I didn't see them together that much. But I know they are still good friends. So I thought since you are a friend of Luke, you may be a friend of Jake too, she explained, smiling. Ah. I haven't spoken to him much. I don't know if anyone has spoken with him much other than academics or football stuff. I said casually as possible. You are becoming a good liar. Congratulations, Sarah. However, there were just a few minutes left until the end of the game. Victoria's team was offered a corner kick. A corner kick can be crucial at a time like this, right? Jason, one of the most talented players in the Victoria team, was going to have the corner kick. He could take the maximum out of the given opportunity, and they scored another goal for their team. He kicked the ball in the direction of one of his fellow players, Tom, and Tom managed to turn the ball to the goal using his head. God! The scores are matched once again. Only 15 minutes were left. I think the Victoria team was satisfied with having the scores tied. They were not trying to score any goals. Instead, they were trying to aggressively defense. On the other hand, our team was trying their best to score another goal. I can't even imagine the tension the players would have on the field because I felt like I was on fire. I was extremely nervous. I so much wanted our team to win, and also I wanted Jake to score 3 goals. Whatever he is going to ask from me after he scores 3 goals, I am willing to give him right away no matter how many goals he scored. But I know that's not what he wanted. Please, God. Please let him get one goal more. Please. I was praying from all my heart. I think God has listened to my prayers. Jake was running towards the goal with the ball, and he was so close to scoring. He was like lightning. So fast. So strong. He was going to score. But the next second someone tripped him, and he falls to the ground. That's illegal. I heard Sally screamed. I didn't know if that is illegal or not, I couldn't even comprehend what has just happened. He was going to score, and the next second he was on the ground holding his leg. How that's possible? I was standing up, placing both of my hands over my heart while tears running down my cheeks. He was in extreme pain. My poor Jake is in extreme pain. He was still on the ground and our physician was checking on him. It seemed like he can't even stretch his leg properly. My poor baby. This was not the first time I saw him getting injured at a game. My heart always ached to see him in pain. But today it felt a million times worse. I don't think he would be able to play further, I heard Sally said next to me. But I didn't say anything in reply. I didn't know what to say. I don't care if he couldn't play further in the match, but seeing him in that much pain. It is intolerable. I wanted to run to him. Hold him from both of my hands. Comfort him in any way I can. But I was helpless. I had to wait and just stare. Sally was right. He couldn't play further in the match. He couldn't even walk. Our team's physician held him from one side, and his assistant supported Jake from the other side. Even though he had support from both sides, Jake still walked with so much difficulty. Our whole team looked devastated with what just happened. We have only a few minutes available, and we lost our key player. However, the player who tripped Jake got a red card, and in return, our team was offered a penalty kick. This will be our last chance to win, we have to make this succeeded. Luke is the one who got to play the penalty kick. Everyone was again focusing on the match. But my mind was distant from the game. I was thinking about my Jake. I couldn't see him from where I was. I think they took him to the players' rest area. My poor Jake. He must be really annoyed right now because it is someone else's illegal movement that made him injured and stop him from scoring his third goal. I don't know why people do such illegal things on the field. This is a game. You have to be fair and respect others, isn't that the base of any sport? However, Luke could succeed in the penalty kick. We could score another goal. Right after that goal, the game was ended, giving us the winning 3-2 goals. All our players and the supporters were cheering with the excitement. I was so happy for my team. They played fairly with their SKLLS, and they truly deserve this winning. But I couldn't be as excited as they are because I don't know how my Jake is. After all the celebrations and handshakes with each other, players started to leave the ground. Jake didn't return to the ground. He should be seriously injured and in a lot of pain. After players left the ground, everyone started to leave. The girls in front of me were complaining that they couldn't get an autograph from Jake as they wished. I was just sitting on my seat, thinking about what should I do now. I know I have to leave, but I couldn't without knowing his status. Let's go, Sally said. I said, thinking. Why? What's wrong? She asked, concernedly. Sarah. You can't act stupid like this. Come back to your senses. You can stay here all day, but you won't get to know his status. Nothing. Since everyone is leaving the same time, it is a bit crowded. I replied. Yeah. It is true, she said, sitting back next to me. We both stayed there for some time and after that left the stadium. Where do you live? I can give you a lift. Sally offered. Oh. Thank you, Sally. But I have some other work to attend to. So you may go, I replied. Ah. Then okay. See you at uni, Sarah. Take care, she said, walking towards the car park. See you, Sally. Drive safely, I said in reply. Then I started walking towards the bus stop thinking of what should I do next. I didn't know if it is okay to call Jake at that time. So I took my phone and dialed Luke's number. He answered his phone after a few rings. Thank God. Hello, Luke's deep voice raised from the other side. Hello, sorry for calling you now, Luke. But I want to know how he is. I said, trying my best to stay calm. We still don't know for sure. We are taking him to the hospital. Our physician said we need to get some x-rays before coming to any conclusion. Is he in a lot of pain? I asked while tears filled in my eyes. He is in pain, he said after a small pause. But don't worry. We are with him. You may go home now. I will call you after we reach home, he said. Okay. Thank you, Luke, I replied. Putting the phone back to my pocket, I sat on the metal bar at the bus stop. How long will it take to get him treated at the hospital? Would it be some serious injury? Would he be unable to walk for some time? Please God. Don't let it be that serious. I can't bear seeing him in such a state. God. How much I love him. I have never felt this worried about anyone in my entire life. I really didn't know, he means this much to me. Even thinking of him in pain breaks my heart. I didn't feel like going home. I wish I knew where is Jake's house. Even though I went there once, I couldn't remember the directions. I decided to stay here until Luke calls me back. Chapter 49. I was waiting at the bus stop nervously, holding the phone in my hand. It was so hard to resist myself from calling Luke and check what is going on. But I didn't want to disturb him when they are at the hospital. Everyone has already left after the match. There was no one left near the bus stop. It was pretty dark, and the street was empty too. If it was some other time, I would never stay here alone. But at this moment, I didn't give a sh*t about those. I just wanted to know if he is okay. After a long and hard waiting time, my phone finally rang. Hello, Luke's voice raised from the other side. Where are you both? How is he? What the doctor said. I was so impatient to know. Hey! Calm down first. We just came home. He is okay. Fortunately, no fractures, but he will not be able to walk for some time. Oh! I was relieved, knowing he got no fractures, but how can I bear when he can't walk for some time? Hey! Don't worry, Luke said. I think he could sense the disappointment in me. Here, Jake wants to talk with you, he then said. Sarah. Next moment, Jake's deep voice raised from the other end. Is it hurt a lot? I couldn't control my tears as soon as I hear his voice. He is in deep pain. I don't need him to turn it to words, I could just sense it. To be honest, it hurts. But I have suffered far worse injuries than this, princess. So, there is nothing to worry about, he was trying to comfort me even in a situation like this. I can't stand it when you are in pain, I said between tears. Don't cry, babe. It hurts me a lot more than this injury, he said worriedly. I am not crying. I just can't stop my tears, I replied, trying to wipe out tears from my eyes. Listen. It is just a few weeks. After that, everything is going to be all right. We should be happy because it is not some serious injury. He was trying his best to soothe me, while he was in extreme pain. My poor Jake. He loves me so much. Thinking about how much he loves me made me cry even harder. Sarah. Please don't cry. Be a good girl, stop crying, and go wash your face. I will call you after that. I can't wash my face. I am not at home, I said without thinking much. But it triggers him within an eye blink. What? Not at home? Where are you then? It is pretty late now, he sounded so worried and angry too. I am still at the bus stop near the ground, I said guiltily. What? At this hour? Are you insane? Is there anyone near? He literally barked at me. I nervously roamed my eyes. There was no one on the street. I felt a bit scared too. No. There is no one, you make me going crazy, Sarah, he yelled. Now, don't go anywhere. Just wait a few minutes. I am sending Luke to get you. Jake said. No. I can go home, I protested as usual. If you can go home, you should have done that by now. It is closer to my place. I am sending Luke now. I will cut this call and call you back from my phone, okay, he said. Can I come to see you? I asked, wishing from all my heart that he may say yes. Okay, he then cut the phone without even letting me say anything. Within just a minute, my phone rang. It was from Jake. He is coming to get you. Keep on talking with me until he comes, he said. I didn't know what to say. I was so happy because I am going to see him. On the other hand, I was feeling guilty. When he was in such a pain in the, I made him worried about me. I am such a careless person. Sarah, he said, as I didn't reply. I am sorry. I made you worried. I replied. You don't have to apologize for making me worry. But you can't act irresponsibly like this, Sarah, he said sadly. I know that, Jake. I actually forgot about everything because I was so worried about you, now forget that. Just tell me something else, he said. He may want me to distract his mind from thinking about the pain. So I just started talking about random stuff with him, until Luke's car stopped in front of me. You are acting so stupid. Luke scolded me as soon as I get into his car. He is usually so cool about everything, but he seemed to be really angry now. I am sorry, Luke. I completely forgot everything else thinking about him. I said, apologetically. We both are doing everything we can to make sure you are safe. But here you are, completely ignoring my words and staying in this ghosted street this late, he said. I am so sorry, I said, looking at him. He looked exhausted. He hasn't even changed his clothes. After the match, he had to take care of Jake, and then me. He has the right to be angry. He didn't say anything. He just looked at me and released a long sigh. I took even less than 10 minutes to reach Jake's house. Jake was sitting on the sofa while his leg was resting on a few cushions arranged on the coffee table. He smiled as he saw me. His leg was fully bandaged from the knee to toes. It hurts a lot, isn't it? I asked, walking near to him and looking at his leg. I told you, I have suffered things worse than this. So it is okay, he said. But his face was saying a different story. He looked utterly exhausted, and his face was wrenched with pain. I couldn't stop tears rolling down. Hey! Don't cry, princess, he pulled me from my arm and made me sit next to him. Then he gently wiped tears from my face. It is just a few weeks, then everything will be fine, he said. But you won't be able to walk for a few weeks, I said sadly. Just for a few weeks. There are a lot of people who can't walk in their entire life, so, a few weeks mean nothing. Don't worry, princess, he said, smiling. I just hold his hand without saying anything. Want to drink something? Luke asked, coming to the living room. Okay, Jake nodded. I will prepare something to drink. I offered. That's a good idea, Luke said, crashing to a nearby chair. Poor Luke. Jake is so lucky to have such a good friend in his life. What you both want? I asked. Hot chocolate, they both replied in unison. I laughed at them and headed to the kitchen. They were talking about the match when I returned with 3 mugs of hot chocolate. I sat next to Jake on the sofa. Why he tackled you down, knowing it is an illegal movement? I asked. They were willing to do anything to stop us from scoring another goal. He knew there was no way they could stop Jake if he didn't tackle Jake down at that moment. Luke replied. But it leads to a penalty which gave us the victory ultimately, I said. When you are so angry and aggressive, you actually don't see the consequences of your actions, Jake said calmly. But it is so unfair, I argued again. Life is not fair at all. You know about that more than any of us. Jake said again. Of course, he is right. Life is not fair at all. I have more than enough experience to prove it. People are so selfish and cruel. They were again discussing the match, I was just listening to them while sipping my hot chocolate. Jake, let's take a wash. After that, you can rest comfortably. Luke suggested after we all finished our drinks. Jake nodded his head. I am going to stay here tonight. What you are going to do? Then Luke asked me. I really wanted to stay with them. But I was not sure if Jake will be okay with it. So I looked at Jake, expecting him to take the decision. If you want, you can stay, he said. Thank God. Of course I want, I replied quickly. Sarah, can you order some dinner? He should eat something before taking all those medications. Luke said. Okay. What should I order? Anything you like, he replied, smiling. Jake, is there anything you want to eat? I asked. I can eat anything, princess. I just got my leg injured, I don't have any stomach ache or anything. Jake laughed. Okay, okay. I will order pizza. I said, pouting. They both laughed. Then Luke helped Jake to sit in the wheelchair. It was so painful to see him in a wheelchair. But as he said, it is for just a few weeks. So, I must make up my mind. Jake's room is upstairs. Since he can't go there now, Luke took him to the bedroom in the downstairs. It has a bathroom also attached to it. So, it is convenient at the moment. I came back to the living room and placed an online order for pizza. Then, I spent some time checking our university football page on Facebook. They have already uploaded some photos and videos of today's match. There were some wonderful captures of both Jake and Luke. Both of them look incredibly handsome. I spent a few minutes going through photos and stuff. There was no sound from the bedroom. Have they finished? I thought of go and check. The bedroom door was fully opened. I couldn't see Luke. Jake was sitting on the bed, keeping his leg on a stool. He was just having a towel wrapped around him. His muscular chest was fully exposed. He looked so hot. This is like the third time I saw him shirtless. But this time it felt much different. Maybe because I know he is mine. That man who is SXY as a Greek god is mine. Only mine. Forever and beyond. Chapter 50, I was just staring at him. Having all the thoughts going on in my mind. I don't know how long I stayed there. Enjoying what you see, his voice brought me back to the real world. He was smirking at me. I blushed with guilty. I felt like a small kid who got caught while doing something she is not allowed to do. Come, he then said as I was still waiting near the door. I slowly walked towards him, still looking down. I had no courage to look at his face. Sit, he demanded, showing the space next to him. I didn't feel like sitting next to him when he was just barely covered with a towel. But you must know by now that Jake is someone who never takes no for an answer. He grabbed my hand and made me sit next to him. Look at me, he then raised my head with his hand. Then he traced his index finger gently over my face. You look like a ripe tomato. I want to eat you, he whispered seductively. You are making me even red, idiot. He then took my right arm and kept it right above his heart on his bare chest. Have you ever electrified? Well, I got electrified right then. I don't know enough words to explain all the feelings I had when my hand touched his warm skin. I felt his heartbeats under my touch. God! His heart beats so fast. I think mine is the same. Do you feel my heartbeats? He murmured again. I wanted to say yes. But no words came out of my lips. I just nodded my head. Only you can make this heart beats like this. Remember that forever, he said gently. My eyes filled with tears. Then he removed his hand from my hand and held my face from both of his hands. You are so beautiful, my princess. Please tell me that you are mine, he said when his eyes were focused on mine. Yes, I am yours. Forever and beyond. I would die instead of being with someone else. I love you, Jake. I love you so much. I am yours. Yours only, I whispered when tears were running down my cheeks. He looked stunned by what I said. He was staring at my face for a few seconds. Then the next moment, his lips attached to mine. I totally lost myself in his warm lips. That kiss was so passionate. Filled with so much love and affection. I have no idea how long we were finding heaven in each other's lips. I don't even know how I managed to stay without breathing for that long. Or did I breathe while I was kissing him? I don't know. It was like a dream. He then broke the kiss and cuddled me to his chest. His well-built, masculine, bare chest. I wrapped my hands around him and got myself attached to him even more. This is my place. My rightful place in this world. He smelled wonderful. I think it is his body wash. I couldn't help but kissing his bare chest gently. I was waiting so long to hear those words from you, my princess. I don't care how much my leg hurts, I have never felt this happy in my entire life, he said, kissing my head. Luke's POV. I helped Jake to take a wash without letting his injured leg getting wee. Then I help him to sit on the bed and placed his leg on a small stool. Jake didn't have any clothes to wear in this room. So, I went up to his room to take things he may need. I was exhausted. I don't feel like even walking. All I wanted was just take a bath and crash to a bed. But for him, I was willing to travel around the world now, if it is required. I went through his closet and found a comfortable short and a t-shirt for him to wear. Then I needed to find something for Sarah too. I always keep extra clothes for me here. So I was okay. Then I collected other things such as his cologne, face wash. It will be easier to keep all these things in downstairs. After getting everything, I went downstairs. His bedroom door was opened as I left it. But I stopped a few steps away from the door because I heard some sounds inside. Sarah has come to his room. She was sitting next to him. He was kissing her. They were in a very passionate kiss. He was caressing her hair and her back while kissing her. Her hands were exploring his naked back. This was the very first time I saw them this close and kissing. I knew I should ready to face this one day. From the moment they started their affair officially, I knew, I have to stand these things. But when it happens in reality right in front of my eyes, it was unimaginably painful to accept. God! Please forgive me for having thoughts like this. I love both of them so much. I want nothing but happiness for them. They deserve each other. They deserve happiness. But I am also a human with feelings like everyone else. No matter how much I want them to be happy, I can't just ignore the fact that their happiness makes my happiness disappear. Why my life is this complicated? What have I done to deserve this pain? Breaking the kiss, Jake then cuddled her to his chest. Both of them seemed to be in a totally different world. Their own small world filled with love and happiness. A world that I am never going to have. I made myself covered by the wall. I didn't want to interrupt their moment. Sarah's POV. I was startled when the doorbell rang. I was still in his arms. I quickly pulled myself from him. I will get that, Luke's voice raised just behind the door. When I raised my head, I saw him walking towards the living room. He was carrying something in both of his hands. He was just behind the door, wasn't he? God! How long has he been there? He might have seen everything. I am pretty sure my face again turned red. He saw us, didn't he? I whispered. So what? Jake chuckled. We were kissing and, so? Did we do something illegal? He laughed again. His whole face was lit up with a playful smile. You are insane, I said, pouting. Don't get stressed over little things, princess. We love each other. We don't have to be afraid to show it. On the other hand, it is Luke. He is the only person in this whole world that understands and supports us without any condition, he said in a confident voice. When he talked about Luke, his voice clearly showed how much he trusts Luke and how much Luke means to him. How wonderful to have a friend like that. We ate pizza while watching TV. Jake was talking about some random stuff. But Luke was strangely silent. He didn't even laugh at anything we talked about. I think he was extremely tired. Poor Luke. Jake also felt his silent behavior. He asked Luke a few times as well. But Luke just smiled wearily. I called Dad after dinner and told that I am staying at one of my friend's house. He didn't even ask who the friend is. I know he doesn't care even if I don't inform him. But Jake insisted that I should tell him. After that, Luke took Jake to the room, and helped him to get into the bed. I will sleep on the couch in the living room in case you need me. Luke offered. No need to sleep on the couch, we can share the bed, Jake replied. What about you? Luke asked me. I am going upstairs, I quickly said. Why? You can stay here with him. You can tell me if he needs to go to the bathroom or anything. Luke again asked. No. I am going upstairs, I replied. I would love to sleep next to him. It would be a dream come true. But tonight is not the right time for it. Okay, then. Shall we sleep now? I am so sleepy, Luke said. After saying good night to both of them, I came to Jake's room. I took a quick wash and changed to Jake's bottom and t-shirt, which Luke has kept for me. I was feeling so tired too. So I quickly crashed to the bed. The pillow smelled like him. It actually feels like sleeping next to him. Within a few minutes, I fall into a deep sleep, having sweet dreams about us. I woke up early. Luke and Jake were sleeping so peacefully. Letting them enjoy their sweet sleep, I came to the kitchen to prepare something for breakfast. Good morning, Luke's voice raised behind me when I was halfway done with preparing breakfast. Good morning, I greeted and turned around to look at him. He still looked tired, even after sleep. How is Jake? Did he wake up in the middle of the night? I asked. No. He slept well thanks to the painkillers, he replied, smiling. That's great. Do you want some tea or coffee? I asked. If it is not a trouble for you, tea sounds good. How is it trouble for me? You do this much for us. Can't I just make a tea for you? I said, switching on the electric kettle. You were extremely tired yesterday night, weren't you? I asked. Yeah. I was a bit tired, he said, sitting on a chair by the kitchen table. Not just a bit. You were completely different yesterday, during dinner. Like you are in a different world, I said. What? Did I look like that? Then I was tired more than I thought, he said, smiling after a small pause. But that smile didn't reach his eyes as usual. I don't know why, but when he talks, I felt there was something more than just exhaustion to his unusual behavior. Is he in some kind of a problem? Should I ask him about that? I was thinking while pouring hot water to his mug. Chapter 51, Luke's POV. She was preparing tea for me. I think she has observed that I was different from yesterday's night. No matter how hard I tried, it was so difficult to hide my pain and misery. Even Jake asked me, why am I so silent during dinner? I didn't know how to reply to him, so I just skipped his question with a weary smile. How can I tell my best friend and his girlfriend about my feelings? It will only make them sad and feel sorry for me. Sometimes, they may feel uncomfortable around me too. That is the last thing I want to happen. They are the most important people in my life. I want them in my life forever. So, I think it is better if I keep my feelings just to myself. Here you go, she said, offering me my mug. She looked even skinny with extra large clothes on her. But she still looks cute. No makeups, no hairstyles. Just pure, natural beauty. Exactly what Jake expects from a girl. I have never met a girl who has gone through so much like her. She has suffered a lot. I think they treated her that badly just to impress Shane. Because everyone knew Shane has some unexplainable grudge over her. He never let a chance to hurt her, go away. But now, with my friendship with her, everything is getting changed little by little. People have started talking to her. They have started treating her as a human. They all may want to impress me now. People are that cruel. They only think about what gives them the best advantages. They don't care about other people at all. Are you in some kind of a problem? Sarah's voice raised. I was so attached to my own thoughts. So, it took me a few seconds to grab what she asked. I raised my head and looked at her. She was looking at me sadly. Don't know how long she was looking at me like this. No, why? I asked, trying to smile. You are different from last night. I thought you were tired, but now I feel there can be some other reason too, she said, looking right into my eyes. Nothing like that, Sarah. I was exhausted, and on the other hand, I was really annoyed at what happened to Jake, I said. God! It was so hard to lie to a person, looking right into their eyes. I get it. It was unfair. But are you sure, you are upset just because that, she asked again. Of course. What else is there to worry, I replied immediately. Okay, then. But if you have any problem, I am always here to listen. Maybe I won't be able to help you, but I will always try my best, she said. I know she meant every single word of what she said. I know that, Sarah, I smiled. Jake, you are the luckiest man in the world. You have such a wonderful girl in your life. She is perfect from all the aspects. I thought while looking at her. Sarah's POV. We all had breakfast together. Jake was feeling a bit okay than yesterday night. Luke was also back to his usual self after the discussion I had with him in the morning. Your food is delicious, Luke said. This is like the 5th time he said this. Jake and I laughed at him. You know, when you two are married, I will come to your house every day. So, I can eat tasty food from Sarah, Luke said again. How about getting a girl who can cook delicious food for you? I asked while laughing at him. They both exchanged a glance that I couldn't decipher. Luke's face also got changed pretty quickly. What does that mean? No need. I will arrange a room for you at our house, Jake said immediately. Perfect, Luke said, patting Jake's shoulder. These two indeed have a lot of secrets between them. God knows when they are going to let me know all these. I thought while looking at them. After taking breakfast, Jake insisted that I should go home. I so much wanted to stay with him and take care of him. But he didn't want me or Luke to stay with him. He said he called Clark, and he is on his way to Jake's place. So Clark will stay with him, and look after him. Luke was clearly annoyed with Jake's decision, but neither of us could do anything against his words. He always has some kind of power to make us agree to his decisions. Luke went to take a wash and change before leaving. So, I was alone with Jake in the living room. I was sitting next to him, holding his hand. I have to ask you something, I said. What? What you wanted to ask from me after you score 3 goals? I asked curiously. Oh, that. I didn't score 3 goals, so I cannot ask you that now, he replied casually. But it was not your fault. You were so close to scoring the 3rd goal if that it didn't block you illegally. I said angrily. However, the final result is the same. I scored just 2 goals, he said. I don't care how many goals you scored, Jake. Even if you didn't score a single goal, I am willing to give you anything you want. Please tell me what you want from me. No, princess. I must earn that. I will tell you when I deserve it, he said, gently kissing my hand. I hate you, Jake. You are so stubborn, I yelled at him, pulling my hand away from him. Hey, he said, putting his hand over my shoulder and pulling me to him. Don't get angry, princess, he said softly. I am not getting angry, Jake. But you are always like this. Hiding everything from me, I said, pouting. I am not hiding, princess. Even if I tell now, we can't do it for a long time, he said. I don't care when we can do it, but I want to know what that is, okay? Okay. Have you heard about Paradise Island? He then asked. Yes. My family owns a bungalow there. It is a really nice place with a private beach. It is a bit far away from the crowded area. So, it is possible to spend some alone time, he was saying. So, he has increased my curiosity. I wanted to ask you to spend a weekend with me there, he said softly, while his eyes were focusing on mine. What? Spend a weekend there? But isn't that far away? I couldn't hide my surprise. There should be nearly 1,000 km. Not far away if we fly there. I was planning to use one of our private jets, he said casually. What? You own private jets as well? Oh my God! How rich are you for real, Jake? I even forgot to close my mouth. It is not a big deal, princess. Most of the people own private jets these days, he said, smiling. Well, not the people I know. Now forget about it. I just wanted to have a beautiful weekend alone with you. Just two of us. I don't know what to say, Jake, I said, looking down. I know, it is not easy for a girl like you to fly 1,000 miles away from home with a guy and spend a whole weekend with him. That's why I wanted to earn it for you. To give a value to your decision, he said. But, even from your side, using your family's private jet and the bungalow, won't it be a problem? I asked. I can do it, without letting my parents know. So, that won't be an issue. He replied. I said, drowning to my own thoughts. It would be amazing to spend the whole weekend with him. Without being afraid of people seeing us or suspecting anything. We can spend time together as we desire. But as he said, it is not an easy decision to take. It will be totally different from spending a day at his place. I know you all may think, what is the big deal, you both love each other. That's true. But I have never been that far from home. Other than the visits required by school or university, I have never been to any place far away from home. On the other hand, anything can happen when we two are alone. Am I ready for that? No matter how much I crave for him, I am not sure if I am ready to take such a big step yet. What you are thinking, Sarah? He asked, concernedly. Even if I score 3 goals, I was not going to push you for it. I always value your decision. I never want to make you uncomfortable, he added. You know, Jake, as you said, it is not easy for me to take that decision. But with you, I am willing to go to the end of the world, if it is required, I said, placing my head on his shoulder. Really? Thank you, princess, he said, kissing my forehead. But I don't want to do that, yet. I wanted to tell him. But I didn't. I know I will look so stupid if I tell something like that now. He will definitely make fun out of me. Sometimes, he may not have even think about something like that. He may just want to spend some time with me. God! You are so naive, Sarah. When are you going to grow up? Chapter 52, Luke gave me a lift to come home. We both were so worried about Jake, but we couldn't go beyond his words. When I entered home, Mom and Dad were in the living room. Where you were last night, my mom screamed as soon as she saw me. I was startled by her voice. I called Dad yesterday, I replied. That is not the answer to my question, she yelled. I stayed at my friend, Penny's house, I said slowly. You can tell. How we know where you stayed exactly, Mom yelled again. Let her go, honey, Dad said. We can let her go now, but what are we going to do if one day she comes carrying a baby? You will worry when you have to feed another mouth, Mom said. Not just me, even Dad got horrified by what she said. Mom, I said, a bit annoyingly. You are not allowed to sleep over at your friends' houses anymore. You must come home no matter how late it is, she said firmly. I knew by experience that there is no use to argue with her now. It will only make her angrier. So, I just nodded my head and walked towards the staircase to go to my room. Where are you going now? Can't you see, there are thousands of work to do in this house, Mom yelled. I will come after changing my clothes, I replied without even looking at her. She sets rules and asks me to come home not because she loves me and she cares about me. I know she is not afraid of me coming with a baby one day, because she knows I am not that stupid. She just sets all these rules because she wants me to do all the household work. When I am not around, she has to do everything, and she hates it. I went to my room and changed my clothes. I sent a message to Jake, saying I came home and I am going to do some work at home because I had no idea when my mom will release me to get a break today. I spent the whole day doing several household works. The next day morning, I went to work at the cafe. I wanted to go and see Jake, but he said it is not good if I keep coming every day. The next week Jake didn't come to lectures, as doctors advised him to give complete rest to his leg. When I had to stay home because my leg was hurt, he recorded all the lectures for me and sent me all the notes. He helped me a lot to understand all the lecture contents, though I couldn't attend lectures. So I wanted to do the same for him. But I don't have a good phone to record the whole lecture. So I asked Luke to do that for me. However, every evening, I called him and helped him to understand the subject matters. For the whole week, I got to see him only once. He was getting better pretty fast. Clerk takes care of him in the best way possible. I just spent that evening cuddling to him. It is so hard to stay away from him even for a day now. I want to at least see him. His bright smile, his warm touch. God! I missed him really a lot these few days. The whole week was utterly boring except for that day I got to see him. Nothing special happened. Oh! Wait! I almost forgot. I met Mr. Patterson for his session to finalize the lecture content. That day morning, I got a call from an unknown number. Hello, I answered the phone. Sarah. It's me, Mr. Patterson, Mr. Patterson's deep voice raised from the other side. Oh. Yes, Mr. Patterson, I said, wondering how he got my phone number. But then I remembered, all the lectures have access to students' contact details. Sarah, if you are free, can I take that session today around 1 p.m., he asked. I said, thinking about the lecture schedule I had that day. I didn't have any lectures from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Okay, sir. I can come around 1 p.m. I replied. Okay then, see you later, he said. As soon as he kept the phone, I remembered what Jake told me about him. But how can I refuse a request from a lecturer? So I went to his room around 1 p.m. Sarah, the ultimate goal of these sessions is to understand the attitudes and behaviors of the group of students I am going to teach. Also to understand the common problems you all are facing. I have prepared a few questions to ask from you. You may find some of these questions are a bit personal, but please remember I just want this information for academic purposes only, he said after offering me a seat. I was a bit worried after hearing his explanation. God knows what type of private questions he is going to ask. If you are feeling uncomfortable, please let me know, he again said. I nodded my head in agreement. Then he started asking about some basic questions related to my early academic performances, and high school life. I answered them all without any hesitation. Do you have a boyfriend? When he asked, I was actually shocked. Yes, I have. But I am not supposed to talk about him. No, I replied. Have you ever had a boyfriend? Then he asked. No, I said, looking down. Do you have any crush or any affections towards anyone? Why on the earth does he want to know all these things? This is getting a bit disturbing. No, sir, I replied. I thought that is the safest way to reply. He kept on looking at me for a few seconds like he is not believing what I just said. I looked at him because I couldn't gather up the courage to ask what is wrong with him. Oh. Forgive me, Sarah. When a smart, kind-hearted, and beautiful girl like you says, she doesn't have a boyfriend neither a crush, it is difficult to believe, he said, smiling. Beautiful. Other than Jake and Luke, no one has ever said I am a beautiful girl. I want to focus on my academics, sir. I want to finish my degree with a first class, I replied. That's great, he said. Who do you love most in your life? He then asked. What? Can you please tell me how any of these questions are related to finalizing a psychology lecture content? There is no doubt I love Jake most and then Luke. But I can't tell any of their names, right? My family, I said because I couldn't think who I love most, Dad, Mom, or Shane. All three of them treat me in the same way. Not a specific family member. No, I said. I just wanted to end this session as soon as possible. Okay, who is the best friend you have in university? He asked. Jake. Luke. Other than that, I don't have any best friends. Not even outside the university. I don't really have a best friend. I am not that good at making friends, I said. Really? But the way you talk with me on the first day I met you. I thought you are an extrovert person, he replied. I think I felt comfortable talking with you, though I didn't know you. I don't feel like that normally, I said the truth. His face lit up with a bright smile. I am really glad that you are comfortable with talking to me, he said. I smiled weakly. Anyway, you are making me uncomfortable around you a little by little. As you think, what is the biggest challenge you have to face? He then asked. God. I have only faced challenges in my life. I am fighting with my life since I can remember. My parents are not capable of supporting my education. So, I have to work part-time to support my education since high school. I said. Not just my education, other than providing a roof over my head and some food to eat, my parents don't support me at all. But I didn't want to embarrass my parents in front of him. Doing a part-time job was not the real challenge I was facing, but the lack of love and care was. However, now I am getting more than enough of all of those because of Jake and Luke. So you are doing a part-time job, where? He asked. At the cafe. Next to the university, I replied. Ah, he said after a small pause. Then he started to ask some questions about the curriculum, the changes I expect in the curriculum, extracurricular activities, and some other stuff that is related to the purpose of our discussion. I think he was back on the track. Thank you very much, Sarah. I think I didn't make you uncomfortable, he said at the end of the session. You are welcome, Mr. Patterson. No. It was a good session, I quickly replied. Actually, other than the few personal questions he asked, the rest of the session was fine. Okay, then see you later, he said. That evening, I was working in the cafe. My shift was scheduled to be ended at 7:30. At around 6:45, Mr. Donald asked me to attend to a new customer, because that customer has specifically asked for me. I was really surprised. Who can be that? It cannot be Jake, right? He is not supposed to go out. Is it Luke, then? But he will just call me, without asking about me from Mr. Donald's. I was thinking while walking towards the front. I was really surprised to see who was waiting for me in a corner table. Chapter 53. I was totally shocked by seeing who was waiting for me at a corner table. Sarah. His face bloomed up as soon as he saw me. Mr. Patterson, I said, still in shock. It is totally normal for a lecturer to come to the cafe. But why he asked for me? I was going home, and I remembered you are working here. So, I thought of dropping by, he said, smiling. Oh. I said, trying to smile. So, don't you take my order? He asked playfully since I was just staring at the table. Oh. I am sorry, sir. What do you like to have? I replied quickly, giving him a menu book. He went through the menu carefully. I will have a cappuccino, he finally said. Okay, sir, please give me 5 minutes, I said, collecting the menu book back from him. I am not in a hurry, take your time, he said, smiling. I faked a smile and returned to the kitchen. Many lecturers have come to the cafe since it is nearby the university. But they have never asked specifically for me. If I got to serve them, they just asked, "Oh, how are you, Sarah?" That's all. But Mr. Patterson acts in a totally different and weird way. I don't know if I feel this way because Jake has already warned me about him. I served him his cappuccino. Enjoy your drink, sir, I said with a polite smile. Thank you, Sarah, he replied. Then I turned to go back to the kitchen. Sarah, but his voice stopped me. I looked at him, wondering what he wants now. When is your shift end? He asked. 7:30, sir, I replied. Okay, he said casually. Then he took his phone out and started typing something like I was not there. He is so weird. I was attending to a few other customers after that. Each time I look at his direction, he was staring at me. What is wrong with him? However, after a few minutes, he left after giving me a very generous tip. It is highly unusual to receive that much money as a tip. So, I first refused it. I am not giving you a tip because you are my student. I usually tip this way, he insisted that I should take it. So, I had to agree. I came out of the cafe after my shift. I was walking towards the bus stop when a car stopped just beside me. I was startled when an unfamiliar vehicle stopped near me. But then I remembered that I have seen this vehicle somewhere. Even before I recall where I have seen it, the passenger seat shutter was opened. Sarah, a familiar voice raised from inside. Mr. Patterson, I said in surprise. Hop in. I will give you a ride, he said. No. That's okay, Mr. Patterson. I can take the bus, I said immediately. No. No. Hop in. I am anyways passing your house on my way, he said. What? Passing my house? How he knows where I live? Okay, he is not just weird, he is getting creepy. It's okay, Mr. Patterson. I can take the bus, I said again. We could have reached your home already with the time we waste arguing. Hop in. I am not going to eat you, he said. But his voice sounded more like a command than a request. It seems like there is no way to avoid his offer, so I get in his car. God! He is so demanding. Just like Jake. You may think about how I know your house, right? He said after he started driving. Yes. I really want to know that, I thought while looking at him. One day, when I was on my way to university, I got an emergency call. So, I stopped the car. When I was on the call, I saw you coming out of your house. You then walked towards the bus stop. I thought of giving you a lift that day too. But you got into someone else's car before that. He said. Oh. I said, trying to recall when this might happen. I don't usually get lifts. So, this should be the day Luke picked me up. You also live nearby? I asked. Just a few blocks away. I got a house for rent, he said. Ah. I replied. Sarah, don't get me wrong for asking you this, he said, looking at me. My heart started to beat faster. What is he going to ask now? Didn't he ask enough questions in the evening? You said, your parents are not capable of supporting your education. But I find it is a bit difficult to believe after seeing your house and the vehicle which was stopped in your garden, he said casually. Of course, my parents are not that poor. But they just don't want to support me. They prefer to save money for their loving son. But I can't tell him any of those, and I believe I don't require to tell him either. He is just my teacher. He has no right to look into my personal life like this, right? Please don't get mad at me. I just asked because I found it less believable. You know, Sarah. If you have any problem, I can always help you. He sounded so worried and empathetic. But it made me really angry. Actually, Mr. Patterson. I don't have any problem, but thank you. My parents can't support me because they have to spend a lot on my brother, who couldn't get a scholarship to continue higher studies. Since I am having my scholarship, I don't require that much anyways. I said, trying my best to keep my voice firm. Deep inside me, I was regretting letting him know about my part-time job and stuff. Jake is right. This man is indeed bad news. I must be very careful when talking to him. Oh, I see, he said. But I am pretty sure he suspects something. After all, he is a lecturer in psychology. He may understand the way people think and behave. He may be able to understand the gap between what people say and what they think. However, after that, he didn't ask anything. He just drove in silent. He then stopped the car in front of my house. Thank you, Mr. Patterson. Good night, I greeted him. Good night, Sarah, he replied and then drove away. I was thinking a lot if I should tell Jake about all of these. He will definitely scold me, right? Knowing how much he concerns about little things, there is a possibility of him sending a vehicle every day to pick me up from home, university, and cafe. On the other hand, with his situation now, if I tell him this, he will get panicked unnecessarily, right? So, I finally decided not to tell him. Maybe that's not the best decision. But I didn't tell him anything. Did I tell you, Sally is getting to be a good friend for me. She sits near me when we have lectures together. She comes to eat with me during the breaks. Sometimes, if we both have free time, she comes to study with me in the library. You can tell she does all these just because she loves Luke. But I don't care. I never had another girl as a friend. I find having her around is really fun and interesting. I got to talk about all the girly stuff, which I cannot talk with Jake or Luke. On the other hand, Sally is really a good girl. However, whenever she is with me, Luke didn't even come near me. I thought I have to put some extra effort to make him talk with her. So, on Friday, I thought of giving these two a chance to at least study together. We had free time in the morning before lunch. I asked Luke if he is willing to study with me in the library. He said yes, thinking only I would be there. But I asked Sally to come with me. She was extremely nervous, knowing Luke would come. Will he like me, Sarah? What am I going to do if he doesn't like me? She kept on asking. You are just going to talk with him today, don't be nervous. I will be there, I had to say every time to calm her down. I was giving advice to Sally like a pro. But I was even more nervous to even meet Jake on the hallway, a few weeks back. I still remember how nervous was I when I had to work in the same group with him during our workshop. Poor Sally. I feel you. I will do everything I can for you. She spent a long time in the washroom, trying to look her very best for him. But I don't really think any of those is required, because she is naturally a beautiful girl with pretty golden hair. I first went to the library. To my favorite SP0T. I waited for Luke. He came after like 5 minutes. He was in a really good mood. Why you want to study with me all of sudden? He asked, taking a seat next to me. Didn't you say, you have some confusion related to sorting algorithms? I thought of studying that. I replied casually. Yeah, that's good. He said, opening his laptop. We both started discussing the lecture content. After a few minutes, Sally came to us, as I planned. Sarah, you said you are going to study sorting algorithms, right? I have some confusions related to that, do you mind if I join with you? She asked casually. But I could sense the nervousness in her voice. I looked at Luke. He was staring at his laptop. His face was expressionless. Oh sure, Sally. Please join, we just started. I quickly replied. Luke was still looking at his laptop. He didn't say anything. Sally took a seat next to me. She was also looking at Luke. But he didn't even raise his head. Is he angry at me? Does he feel that I did this on purpose? God. I am terrible at doing this stuff. Chapter 54. Luke was still looking at his laptop without any expressions on his face. Sally was extremely nervous and worried, I could easily understand it by seeing her face. God. I have made both of them uncomfortable. What have I done? I was feeling guilty to death. But I have to do something, right? We all can't just stay like this. Luke or Sally won't take initiative in breaking this awkward silence. So it is my duty. So, shall we start? I asked, looking at Luke. He didn't say anything, but he nodded his head slightly. So, I took one algorithm and started to explain it. After some time, Luke raised his head from his laptop, and he started to pay his full attention. His reaction made Sally a bit less nervous, and she also started to concentrate. Luke even started to ask questions about the things he needed clarifications. This motivated Sally too. So, she also started to ask some questions. Everything was going fine and I was so happy. Next we have red black tree. But I too have some confusion related to that. I said. Oh. I can explain it to both of you. I watched a few videos and read some articles about it. Sally offered. That's great. I said quickly. Luke didn't say anything. Sally started explaining to us. At first, she was a bit nervous. She avoided eye contact and talked while looking at her notes. But when I started to ask questions, she had to look at me. Then Luke also started to ask questions. When she was answering the first question Luke asked, she stuttered. She looked extremely nervous. Poor Sally. But later on, she got comfortable. She could even look at Luke and explain things without stuttering and sound nervous. However, in the end, we three could spend a very successful and efficient few hours. Our session could give these two some time to spend together, but not only that, it helped us to improve our knowledge too. Let's go to the canteen. I am hungry, I said when we were packing our bags after the session. I will join you. I am hungry too, Sally said. Luke, would you join us too? I asked, praying he would agree. Okay, let's go, he said after a small pause. Sally couldn't hide the bright smile that lit up her beautiful face. So, we all went to the canteen. Today, I will buy you two food. For teaching me, Luke said, smiling. Oh, wonderful. I laughed, looking at Sally's face. She looked extremely happy. So, what you guys want? He asked. Sandwich and a hot chocolate, I said. What you want, Sally? Luke then asked Sally. I will also have a sandwich and hot chocolate, she replied. So, Luke asked us to find a table, and he went to buy us food. Sarah, I don't know how I should thank you, Sally said when we both sat by an empty table. You don't have to thank me, Sally. I am so happy to help you, I replied, smiling. Today is one of the happiest days of my life. I always used to look at him from distant. I never thought I will be able to study with him, and I never thought he would buy me food. I know those are little things. Still, I have no words to tell how happy am I, she said. Her voice sounds like she was about to cry. I know, Sally. This will be just the beginning. Everything will be getting better, I said, taking her hand. After Luke came with food, three of us ate, talking with each other. Luke acted totally normal. He was back to his usual self. He was just talking about random stuff. Sally didn't talk much, but she was smiling all the time like someone has given her a pill to keep her smiling. After eating, we all went to the lectures. Are you going to the cafe after lectures? I got a text from Luke in the middle of the lecture. No. I am going home. Why? I replied. Then wait for me. I can drop you, he sent again. Okay, I replied. After the lectures, I was going home with Luke. Are you going to your relative's house? I asked. Yes, he replied. Sarah, I want to ask you something. You have to tell me nothing but the truth, okay, he said after some time. Okay, I said, feeling a bit afraid about what he is going to ask. What is the true purpose of today's study session? He asked, smirking. What? So, he knows that I had a hidden agenda. What an embarrassment. Don't act all surprised, he said, laughing. The real purpose was to study, what else? I said, looking away. Really? He asked, laughing again. Yes, I said, I want nothing but the truth. Well, his firm voice made me feel really guilty. He is my friend. I am not supposed to lie to him for any reason. I am sorry, Luke. I am so sorry, I said, so worriedly. I was so close to crying. You don't have to say sorry, Sarah. Tell me, did you want to make me study with her? He asked gently. Oh. Luke. I just wanted to let you two spend some time together, I said. Why? Does she like me? He asked, smiling. What should I tell now? It is not my place to reveal him about Sally's feelings towards him, right? I don't think it is my place to talk about that, Luke, I said. He didn't say anything for some time. He just drove the vehicle. When we reached my house, he stopped the car. Then he looked at me. Even if you don't say anything, I know she likes me, he said. What? Really? I looked at him with my eyes widened. I know her since high school. From the way she looks at me. From the way she gets nervous whenever I am around. It was not that difficult to understand her feelings towards me, so, you know it, but you didn't refuse to study with her. Does that mean? I hesitated. No. I don't have any special feelings for her. But she is a nice girl. Unlike other girls, who always try to throw themselves at guys, she knows how to keep her reputation. I respect her for that. He said. Well, this breaks my heart. I really like Sally. I truly wanted her to find her happiness. Even Luke should be lucky to have a wonderful girl like her. If he thinks she is different from other girls and if he respects that, why he can't give her a chance? She is not just a nice girl, Luke. She is really a good girl. She is beautiful and smart. Above everything, she has a really good heart. Any guy should be lucky to have a girl like her, I said. I need to try my best. I wish I had more experience in this area. I know that, Sarah. But I can't like her. I will never be able to either, he said, putting both of his hands on the steering wheel and staring at it. But why? I asked. He didn't say anything. He is just staring at the steering wheel. Luke. Tell me, why? I pulled his hand and pleaded. From both my heart and soul, I love someone else, Sarah, he said, without raising his head. What? You love someone? I felt it, Luke. I just wished it would be Sally. You love someone. You didn't even mention that, I said. I haven't mentioned that to anyone, not even to Jake. I asked with surprise. It is really hard to believe that Luke hides anything from Jake. No. Not even him, he said. Why? I asked again. I think it is my secret. I want to keep it to myself, he raised his head and smiled at me. You are insane, Luke. You can't keep it a secret forever. You have to let that person know one day. So, one day you have to tell us too. I said. I will never let that person know about my feelings, he said, thinking. What? Are you mad? Then how that person know how much you love her? I asked. I couldn't really understand what Luke is talking about. I can't let that person know about that, Sarah. I can't, forever, he said. His voice sounded weak. Why? I don't understand. That person belongs to someone else, Sarah. That person loves someone else, God. I couldn't even believe my own ears. Did he really say that she loves someone else? My poor Luke. How you bear this pain all alone. Without even letting your best friend knows about it. Oh. Luke, without even thinking twice, I hugged him tightly. Why didn't you tell us about this before, Luke? Why you chose to suffer alone? I asked. I told you, it is my secret, he said, smiling. But he couldn't hide the pain bound with his voice. Luke, you know that I love you a lot, right? I asked, breaking our h.ug and looking at him. Of course, Sarah. I know it, he said, gently patting my head. I am telling this because I love you so much, so don't get me wrong. I said. I will never get you wrong, Sarah. You and Jake are the most important people in my life, he said. If you are so sure that you won't tell her about your feelings forever, I think you should move on. You should really move on, Luke. I can't do that either, Sarah. I love that person way too much. I can't love anyone more than that, he said. I know how you feel, Luke. When I was obsessing over Jake, I thought the same way. I just wanted to stay single forever because I love him way too much. But when I was getting those texts and when I was started to feel cared for and loved, I could move on. I didn't know it was Jake those days. I started to love the person who texted me. It is true, I couldn't forget Jake, he had his special place in my mind. Yet, I could love the person I was texting with. You just need to give another chance to your heart to fall in love. Any girl in this world would love to have a kind and handsome guy like you in their lives. I kept on talking. I love Luke so much. I can't let him suffer from a one-sided love. He deserves happiness. Nothing but happiness. I understand what you are trying to say, Sarah. I really do. I have tried it a few times actually. But each and every time I failed. Now I don't want to try again. I just want to love him to my death, him. I couldn't even breathe. Did he really say him? Chapter 55, Him. I couldn't even breathe. Did he really say him? I was staring at him like I was in a dream. How is this even possible? You. Did you say him? I managed to ask. What? Luke asked confusedly. He was so attached to his own thoughts. I think he didn't even notice what he said. You said. I just want to love him to my death. You said him. I said. Ah, he said. I wish there were more light inside the car. I couldn't read his facial expressions. But his voice didn't sound like he said something he shouldn't. Tell me, Luke. Did you really say so, or did I hear it wrong? I asked. Sarah, you heard it right, he replied after a small pause. So, I didn't know how to complete my statement. Yes. I am gay, he said. God. Is this a dream? How can he be gay? How both Shane and Luke can be gay? I have never noticed any sign that they can be gay. Forget about Shane. I can never understand him, and he has a very mysterious character. But my Luke. He is always open. I couldn't even believe he had a secret this huge. Other than Jake, you are the only one who knows about this, he said. Thank you for trusting me, Luke, I replied. Then there was an awkward silence. None of us talked for some time. Sarah, are you uncomfortable with me being, he asked, breaking the silence. Are you mad? I said immediately, holding his hands. You are my friend. You have done so much for me. I don't care about you like girls or boys. I just want your happiness, that's all. I added. I am so glad that I could share this with you. I don't really want to keep this a secret, Sarah. But I don't want other people treating me different, he said. But one day, you have to come out, Luke, I said. I don't know, Sarah. Maybe one day, when I earn my own money, and I am stable, he said. My poor Luke. Maybe his parents are not open-minded. Sometimes he is scared of them. That's why he keeps this a secret. I didn't want to dig deep into that and hurt him more. Luke, what about him? I asked. Him. The person you love, I said. Ah, him, he smiled. Who is him? I asked. I told you, Sarah. That is my secret. I am sorry, but I can't reveal it, he said. At least tell me, can you keep hopes for him that one day he will return to your feelings? I asked. No, he said immediately. Why? Because he is straight. He loves another girl, Sarah. Not a guy. He loves that girl so much. He can never love anyone else. He loves her that much, he said. You talk like you know him pretty well. Is he a close friend to you? I asked. I didn't really want to make him uncomfortable. But I can't just let him suffer as well. Enough questions. Time to go home, he said, laughing. Don't try to avoid me, Luke, I said worriedly. I am not avoiding you, Sarah. But I really don't want to talk about him. He is so happy with that girl in his life. I have never seen him this happy for my entire life. I don't want to destroy it, and I will never destroy it. So, let's forget about it, okay, he said. I just can't bear it, Luke. I want you to be happy, I said. I know it, Sarah. You stay happy always, that will definitely make me happy, he said, patting my head gently. I hugged him again. After saying him good night, I got down from the car. Sarah, Luke said when I was about to close the door. Yes, please don't tell Jake that I have someone I love. You know about him. He will worry about that way too much, he said. I nodded. Then I closed the door, and he left. I walked home, trying to process everything. I was about to open the door when Shane parked his car in a hurry and honked. I turned around to see why he is honking this much. He asked me to stop showing his hand. So, without opening the door, I walked towards his car. He got down and walked to me. What did you do in his car? He yelled at me. What? I was startled when he yelled. What you did in Luke's car? You were in his car for that long. I am asking what you did, he yelled again. Nothing. Just talking, I said, trying to calm myself. Really? What you two have that much to talk about? Then he asked. Nothing specific, I replied casually. Did you? He asked, holding my hand tightly. Did you lie to me? You really have an affair with him? He asked. You are hurting me, Shane. Let me go, I said, trying to remove my hand from his grip. First answer me, he yelled. I don't have an affair with him, Shane. He is my best friend. That's all, I yelled at him. He said, releasing my hand. Stop trying to hook him up with other girls as well, or you will have no teeth left to eat, he threatened. What? Don't think I don't know what you are doing. I have eyes everywhere. You tried to hook that BH up with Luke, didn't you? He is talking about Sally. No need to tell, I was really surprised by how he knows about that. She is not a BH, Shane. She is a good girl, unlike the girls you sleep with. I don't know how I got so courageous to say it to his face. Then he slapped me. Don't ever try to talk back to me. Know your place, he screamed. I know my place, Shane. You need to know your place too. You are never going to win him by acting like an animal. He hates you, I yelled at him, holding my aching cheek from one hand. Then I ran to the house and ran all the way up to my room and closed the door. I was so afraid that he would follow me. But he didn't. I know he is my brother. But I was so happy that I could at least tell that much to his face. Now, Luke being gay, Shane has a better chance with him. But with his current behavior, he will never ever win Luke's heart. He should to at least understand that, putting his ego away. I just can't bear it, Luke. I want you to be happy, I said. I fall onto my bed. My head was aching not because of the hard slap I just received from my twin brother, but because of all the information I need to process. I remembered Sally. Oh. Poor Sally. I had no idea how should I tell her that she will never have a chance with Luke. God. I wish she is a BH, as Shane said. Then it would be easy for me to tell her that. But she is a kind-hearted, nice girl. Above everything she loves him so much, which always reminds me of the way I love Jake. She will be so disappointed. I don't know how she will be able to make her heart. Why, Luke? Why you couldn't be just another straight guy and love her? Just think how simple and wonderful that would be. But now everything is utterly complex, and I don't know how we can find a solution to any of these. Without even knowing, I was crying. I was crying for both of them. For Sally and Luke. Both of them love people who don't love them back. How complicated loving someone really is. When you love someone, and that person loves you back, you will feel your whole life is completed, and you are the luckiest on the earth. But when the person you love is never going to return to your feelings, your whole life will be just a mess. I can't stand seeing them in that mess. Why God, you make nice people like them suffer like this. I wish I know with whom Luke is in love with. At least I can try to find a way to support him. The way he talks about that person clearly indicates how much he loves him. He loves and cares about him so much. He needs nothing but that person's happiness. But why he can't just tell us who that is? Maybe it is because we know that person really well. Still, he can trust us. We will never do anything to make him uncomfortable. I was thinking and thinking. God knows for how long. Wait. Why am I starting to feel so uncomfortable? Stupid, Sarah. Stop thinking. But my mind was completely out of control. It is making me imagine things that I never want to be true. God. Please. I can't stand this. My head is going to explode. I hold my aching head from both of hands. No matter how much I try to control my thoughts, I couldn't just ignore the rationality behind my thoughts as well. There is one rational explanation of all these. The way Luke loves this person. The way he cares about that person's happiness more than his own happiness. The fact that he wants to keep it a secret from even me and Jake. Yes. There is only one logical reason I can think of. The person he loves is none other than. No. God. No. This can't happen. Chapter 56, Please, God. Please, let me be wrong. I don't know how can I bear if I am correct. Can anyone's life be more complicated than this? I thought I finally found my happy place. But if I am correct regarding Luke, then this is not a happy place. What should I do now? Yes. I should talk to him before anything. I can be wrong too. I should definitely talk to him. He can't just avoid my questions anymore. I have to make him answer me. I grabbed my phone, which was beside me on the bed. I was about to dial Luke's number when I noticed the current time. My God! It is already 2 p.m. I didn't feel time passing at all. There is no use of calling him now. I want to meet you the first thing in the morning. I sent him a text. I was still in the same clothes that I wore to university. I felt really exhausted, physically as well as mentally. I went to take a bath, trying to comfort myself. I was feeling hungry too, but I didn't feel like eating anything. Therefore, after taking a bath, I just lied down on my bed. I have engaged in my own thoughts once again. All the happy memories that I have with both Luke and Jake were flashing back in my mind. My eyes filled with tears. I want all three of us to be happy. I just want that. Luke's POV: after dropping Sarah at her place, I drove really fast. I didn't feel like going to my cousin's house too. So, I stopped the car on the roadside and called my relatives to inform them that I won't be able to come today. Then I turned the vehicle and went home. I was feeling so pathetic. I was planning to tell her that I am gay, but I never expected to tell her that I love someone. I don't know what made me tell her all this. She is a smart girl. Honestly, she is one of the smartest girls I have ever met in my life. So, my only fear was, could she sort out who I love? I think I spoke too much. I revealed too many details. Please, God, don't let her think more about this. If she knows the truth, she will be devastated. I can't even imagine how she will react. You are so stupid, Luke. She just found happiness in her life. Your stupidity can ruin everything for her. I was blaming myself and praying God that she won't think deeply about anything. But making my worst fear a reality, I got a text from her. I want to meet you the first thing in the morning. She knows. There is no doubt in that. You better prepare for it, idiot. Yet. I need a perfect plan. I must make her believe me. It won't be that easy. She feels us, both me and Jake. You can lie to a person who is not close to you, but when it comes to a person who is very close to your heart, it is so hard. But I need to do my best. I need to make her believe every word I am going to say. I don't care what limits I have to break in that process. Sarah's POV: Luke came to pick me up at around 7:30 in the morning. Where you want to go? He asked after I got into his car. Somewhere we can talk freely, I replied. Let's go to my house, he said. I agreed. He drove us to his house. Both of us were extremely quiet throughout the drive. This is the first time I came to his house. The house looked almost like Jake's house. Small but luxurious. Sit, he said, showing me the sofa. You need something to eat? I have some sandwiches, he said. The sandwiches? I just want to talk to you. I wanted to say. But I was so hungry too. I was so close to vomiting with my empty stomach. So, I nodded. After a few minutes, he brought me some sandwiches and coffee. We ate in silence. Give me, I will wash, he said, taking the plate from my hand. Carrying our plates and mugs, he went to the kitchen. I followed him. He was washing the plates, paying his full attention. Like it was the most complicated job in this world. He is obviously trying to buy more time. But I can't let him. I couldn't get any sleep all night. I want answers. It is Jake, isn't it? I asked, trying my very best to be strong. What? He asked after a small pause. He was still turning his back to me. He was still cleaning those plates and mugs. The person you love. It is Jake, am I right? I asked again. What? He said again. But this time he was laughing. Why are you laughing? I asked annoyingly. What else should I do? He asked, still laughing. You have to answer what I asked, I said. It is not him, Sarah, he said. But he was still washing those plates and mugs. Is he going to wash them until they disappear? I went to him and pulled his hand. Look at me, I said firmly. Let me finish this first, he said. No. Look at me, I yelled. He seemed to be startled with my voice. He dried his hands from tissues and turned to me. Okay, madam, he said with a sweet smile. Look at my eyes, I demanded. He looked deeply into my eyes. Tell me, Luke. It is Jake, isn't it? Please don't try to fool me, I said. He stared at me for a few seconds, and then he smiled. No, Sarah. It is not Jake, he said, keeping his eyes on mine. Don't lie to me, Luke. You love him. You love him more than anything else, I screamed. Yes. I love him, he said calmly. I felt like my heart stopped for a second. I wanted him to tell this, didn't I? But hearing it from him is harder than I ever expected. But not as you think, he added. What? I know him since I was an infant. I grew up with him. I basically did everything together with him. So, how can I not love him? He is more like a twin brother to me, he said. So, the person you talked about yesterday. It is not Jake. I asked confusedly. Are you crazy, Sarah? How can you even think about something so stupid? Can you ever think of your twin brother as your lover? Same goes with me for Jake. He said. No. It cannot be. You are still trying to hide the truth from me. Luke, listen. I want to hear the truth. I am not an idiot. You clearly said how much you love him. You are willing to stay single for your entire life for that person. I can't think of anyone you love that much other than Jake, I said. I love Jake a lot. Really a lot. I am willing to do anything for him, no matter what it costs me. But I love him as a brother. As a friend. It is totally different from the love I have for this other person, he said, smiling. Okay, let's say you are telling the truth. But then why you can't tell us who it is? Jake has shared all his secrets with you. I have done the same for you. So, I can't see any reason why you can't tell us other than the person you love is Jake, Sarah, it is not Jake. Why you can't just believe me? You are driving me really crazy, he said in an annoying voice. You are the one who drives me crazy, Luke. I couldn't sleep at all last night. You guys hide so many things from me. But I don't bother you asking about them. But this I must know. Luke, please. Tell me the truth, I said again, holding both of his hands. I am telling the truth, Sarah. You think I can lie to you while looking at your eyes? I love you, Sarah. I can't lie to people I love, he said gently. Then why you can't tell us who it is? I asked, while my eyes filled with tears. I can't tell you because even I feel embarrassed about my feelings towards him. Both of you know him so well. I don't want to feel uncomfortable when I am with all of you together, he said. You don't have to feel embarrassed or uncomfortable in front of us, Luke. You know so well how much we love you, I said. You won't say so if you know who that person is. Jake is the same. He is going to be really annoyed if he knew. He said, removing his hands from me, and walked towards the living room. Luke, I shout at him while walking behind him. We are never going to be judgmental about anything related to you. You are being afraid for no reason, I said. He sat on the sofa. He was staring blankly at the wall. His face was totally expressionless. I couldn't understand anything. I really thought it is Jake. But now with what he said, I am shaken. Yet, I can't totally believe him. I can't really think of anyone he loves, that we won't approve. Wait. Did I really thought about approving? A person both me and Jake will not approve. My whole body started to tremble. God. I can think of a person that suits this. But no. There is no way Luke can love him. That can never happen, right? But I have to make everything clear. Is that Shane then? I asked after a long pause. Even I couldn't believe I had the strength to tell his name. Chapter 57, Is that Shane, then? I asked after a long pause. Even I couldn't believe I had the strength to tell his name. My heart was about to jump out of my chest. I was so nervous. He stared at me as he saw me for the first time. Then his eyes moved from me to the wall. Yes, he said after a few seconds. What? Yes. He loves Shane. How can it be possible? He hates him. He has told me on several occasions how much he hates him. This is a total astonishment. I told you. You won't like the truth, he released a sigh. No. Don't think like that, Luke. I just can't believe it. I thought you don't like him, I managed to say. Sometimes you have to pretend to do things just to hide your true feelings, he said. So, you really love Shane? I asked. I just wanted to hear him saying it because it was so hard to believe. Yes. I love Shane. But you know how he is. He is straight more than anyone I know. So, how can I ever have a chance with him? He seemed so down. What should I say to him? I felt completely lost. I remembered the day Shane told me about his feelings towards Luke. Both of them love each other. Both of them think the other one is completely straight, and they won't have a chance. If what Luke told me is true, then he loves Shane so much. Shane also loves Luke so much. They just have to reveal their feelings to each other. But both of them are afraid to do it. This is a total mess. I think I am the first and the only person who knows about both of them and their emotions. So, I have to reveal the truth, isn't it? If they get to know the truth, all the problems will be solved. None of them have to suffer. But Shane asked me to stay out of this. So, is it okay if I tell the truth to Luke? On the other hand, Luke is a very good guy. Shane is completely opposite. He knows nothing other than making people suffer. He is selfish as much as Luke is selfless. Will Luke be able to lead a happy life with Shane no matter how much they love each other? Love can change people. Maybe Luke's love can change Shane, and they will be able to lead a happy life. But what is the guarantee we have? What are you thinking? Do you think I am so stupid to love him? Luke asked because I was just thinking without saying anything. No. I don't think it is stupid. We can't control with whom we fell in love. I said, thoughtfully. Yes. We can't, he replied. What should I do now? Oh God. My head is going to explode? You think Shane loves Beth for real? I asked. What? He seemed to be surprised by my question. I mean, you said the person you love has a girlfriend, and he loves her very much. You also said they are so happy together. But I have never felt that way. Beth is just another girl for Shane, I said. I wanted to make him believe that he has a chance with Shane. He was silent for some time. He was just thinking. I think he loves her very much. This time he is in a serious relationship, he finally said. Serious relationship? My foot. Shane has never been in a serious relationship. If he ever will be in a serious relationship, that would be with you. I don't really know why you are that stupid to even believe that he is in a serious relationship with that girl. But I didn't say anything. I wish I could just expose everything to Luke and end his suffering. But on the other hand, Shane asked me to stay out of it. I don't care what Shane will do if I tell Luke the truth. I am willing to take any punishment for their happiness. Still, it is his decision. Shane also has privacy and I should respect it. I think I need more time to think. Luke's POV: I gave Sarah a lift to the cafe. Then I drove home, as soon as possible. My head was about to explode. I have never felt this pathetic about myself. I had to lie to her. God. I hate to lie to her, looking at her eyes. I made her promise to me that she won't tell any of these with Jake. She may have accepted my lie, but I know with Jake, it will be impossible to lie. Right after come home, I dropped myself to the sofa and shut my eyes. Without even knowing, my mind started to wander to the past. I don't know when and where I started to love Jake. He was there with me in my entire life. He is the most important person in my life since I can remember. But even I didn't realize I love him in this way for a long time. I just thought it is love for a brother. Even before we come to high school, both of us were famous. We were those rich and smart kids everyone adores. We got more than enough attention from girls. Jake didn't show any interest in any girls. He said he doesn't like girls who only care about external beauty. He always said he wants someone intelligent and beautiful from the heart. I also had no interest in girls. I thought it was because my preferences are the same as Jake's. I thought when I meet the right girl I would attract to her. However, eventually, I understood my preferences are not for girls, but for guys. To be more specific, my preference was for Jake. With my family background and everything, I was so scared to accept it. I even tried to start a relationship with a girl just to make me believe that I am not gay. But I failed. It only made me feel even worse. Jake thought I was that upset because I broke up with that girl. So, he tried to hook me up with other girls. I couldn't bear it anymore, and when we were in high school, I told him that I am gay. I was so afraid of how he will take it. But he took it so well. He didn't show any difference. He loved and cared about me in the same way he used to do. I wanted so much to tell him that I love him more than as a friend or a brother. But I had no courage. I loved him too much. I didn't want to make him worry by any means. Within this same period, we met Sarah. First, he didn't show any specialty towards her. But day by day, I felt he has some emotions towards her. One day he told me about his feelings. I still remember that day. It was after a football match. We were just chatting in his room. We both were so happy. Suddenly, he told me, Sarah is the right girl for him. I felt like I lost all my hopes. My happiness just vanished. I was so afraid to reveal my feelings even earlier, but after knowing his feelings it was impossible to let him know. Time passed. Jake started to love Sarah so much. It became an obsession for him. I started to accept it and help him in every way I could. How am I supposed to tell Sarah about this truth? She will definitely feel so bad. Both of them have gone through a lot in their lives. They deserve happiness, and that happiness lies in each other's arms. I know I was ready to cross any limits to hide the truth from her, but I really wished it would not come this far. Yesterday the whole night, I thought, how am I going to make her believe me? I knew that just refusing the truth won't be sufficient. I had to come up with a powerful lie. I knew Shane would be an acceptable lie. He is handsome. He is famous. It will feel totally normal to fall in love with a guy like that. Even though he sleeps with every girl he sets eyes on, I know he has some special feelings towards me. I don't really think he is gay. But he definitely has some special feelings for me. I hate him for how he treats poor Sarah. Sensing that he shows some specialty towards me, made me hate him even more. But I was ready to even start a relationship with him if it requires to make Jake and Sarah happy. I don't think I will ever be able to love anyone else in the same way I love Jake. I am willing to stay single, looking at how happy they are together. I have read somewhere that love is not about getting someone in your life, it is caring about someone more than ourselves. It is so true. People say love has to be selfish. But as I think it shouldn't. Holding tight is not love, letting go is true love. Okay, I know I am just speaking. What to do? I am so desperate. The rest of the audiobooks will be uploaded in the next episode. Join us on Patreon to listen to more unlimited audiobooks.